use any other term than an edict. And after that edict was approved in the meeting, this was then referred to the colonial office, and it was adopted that this new nation was then born. Nigeria was born by that declaration in the edict. So, for those who are curious like me, I read quite a bit of that edict, and it was an edict of hope that the Nigerians that were colonized from Lagos to southern part up to the northern part in 1903 would now be regarded as a country, and that country would be named Nigeria. It is of interest to hear that maybe I'm wrong here, the historians are here. It was the governor and the wife of the governor, or I think the governor general, that in fact gave us our name, Nigeria. Now, the content of that edict was simply that the people that had been put together under that edict are called Nigeria, and the people within Nigerians will now move forward and over the years build a country that they could call their own, and others would also respect as a country different from theirs. And I think that the edict was very clear. In fact, it said the life of the edict was just 100 years. The edict would expire after 100 years. So technically and statistically, this edict expired in 2014, exactly 100 years after. But we did not do anything in a very special way to say that that edict no longer existed and so on, but it was there. But the content was very, very important. And if you read the content, you then consider why we're here today as very, very important. The elements in the edict were simply that the people who were conquered by the British from the southern part of Nigeria, Lagos and others, including the north of course, are now agreed that they are going to build a country. And this country will be called Nigeria. And they should be working very hard to make sure that they succeeded. And from time to time, they should create opportunities to assess the kind of progress that will be made towards that objective of building a country. And I took it that they were doing that, particularly when we get back to the point when our first generation leaders in the country were working towards getting Britain out as a colonial master towards our independence. And they did extremely well, in my view. They worked together, coming from different places and so on. Just as we are still from different places today, they were even more in different places at the time when they decided that they should get themselves together and see whether they can really produce a good country for all of us. And they did. No. So I think that if you look at what they did, one of the quotations that I always use, particularly when people are quarreling about themselves, where do you come from, what language do you speak, which place of worship do you attend, weekly or daily as the case may be. The Sadhana came with the idea that we can't all melt into one tribe, we can't all melt into one language, we can't melt all in one faith just because we want to be called Nigerians. No. So the important thing is for people from these different backgrounds and different antecedents and so on, is to continue to dialogue and understand their differences. Once they can understand their differences, they should be able to work together towards building a country. And this was the spirit behind their working together up to the point Nigeria had achieved independence. Not that Sadona ceased to be a Fulani man, not that Chifawolo ceased to be a Yoruba man, nor Zik ceasing to be an Igbo man. But they work together because they try to understand their differences. And these differences will always be there forever, more or less. There is nothing you can do about it. It is not your work in the creation of Almighty. And in the various scriptures, I'm not good in all the scriptures, it said, we created you in different nations and so on, so that you can understand each other and live together. So here, I think that going back to the main theme of this dialogue, what is dialogue about? Dialogue, as the master of ceremony has eloquently described, is a situation where you sit down, discuss, and try to resolve matters that are not quite clear to many, or are not understood by many, and so on and so forth, so that you can eventually get closer together in your understanding of issues that are important to all of us. And this is where we are today. As I said, I was born a British Nigerian, as many of us here are. In 1961, the British left us. But even then, I think the Queen remained our head of state until another declaration was made, I think in 1962 or thereabouts, for Nigeria to become a republic, so that the headship of government returns fully to the people of Nigeria. Now, those who captured us or conquered us left behind a system that was familiar to them. This is the British parliamentary system, was what was bequeathed to Nigeria at independence. We can't deny that. And we accepted it. Our leaders went to all sorts of conferences within and outside the country to accept parliamentary system of government, and they tried it. And for some of us who saw it and were part of it, we think it worked for us. It worked for us. The system they left behind was a federal parliamentary system where there is a federal government under the original government. And the region I come from, or I came from, and still come from, is northern Nigeria. And when I started my public service in 1964 after graduating from Ibadan, I started in the north. The north had its own constitution, like the west had its own constitution, the east had its own constitution. There was a federal constitution.
Good day, my SC viewers. This is Satellite Media. Mr. Chinedu Michael, let us look at the position of the North and talking about what is coming from Anglo Abdullahi, saying that Nigeria needs to be renegotiated. You look as if things are now falling in place for the Igbos, who have said we want our own separate states.
What it means is that Igbo has always been on the side of reality. The truth. Igbo has always pushed for a national cohesion. Igbo has always wanted things to work. Igbo has individually, without government presence and support, involved deeply in the development of Nigeria. Igbo has, in all ramification, become the mobile economy of this country. Igbo has contributed, sweated more than any region to make sure that at least Nigeria look a little bit where, they say out of the zoo or jungle, whatever it is, make it look as if it's a worthwhile place where things, can actually happen without any federal government support. So over the years, that has been the understanding. Even before the war and after the war, the Igbo has contributed, which has been acknowledged even by the Northerners. But the fear, or whatever reason the reservation they have against anything that has to do with the eastern part of the country, including South, the North has not been able to come out and say the reality. We know that Jonathan came to power as a result of circumstances. Maybe possibly we wouldn't have had anybody from that region, becoming the president of the country. But when you're talking about Igbo case is distinct. Igbos are one of the progenitors or one of the pesetters, who came brought independence in Nigeria. They worked for it. Igbo is number one. When you talk about almost everything in Nigeria, we know what happened in 1966. We know what led to the Nigeria-Biafra war. It is crystal clear. If you look at it very well, you will still notice that there is something that they do not want the world to know. There is something going on. That this misconception, there's this deep reservation in the consciousness of Nigeria as a nation against the Igbos.
Now, what is
Adasaburi? If there's going to be a kind of unity, a kind of national forgiveness or repentance of whatever that has transpired to what have led to Aburi, why didn't they implement it? To tell you there's something actually going on. And Igbos have contributed a lot to the extent that it became very clear to Dick and Harry that there's no way they can be part of Nigeria anymore.
Okay, a school of thought have just said that the coast is not clear for the Igbos. Since the North is saying Nigeria needs to be renegotiated.
Not to go and sit down. What it be not? Anglo Abdullahi, was this his position before now? What was Anglo Abdullahi's position before now? What was the Northern Elders Forum position before now? What was the Northern Governor saying before now? What is the likes of Shetima, Yerima saying before now? We are just staying the same line. What would have influenced his latest move? Anglo Abdullahi is saying now. Nobody's interested in that.
What would have influenced his recent move now?
No, it doesn't position. No, I'm telling you that it's just another cosmetic plan, deeply in pretense and disguise, to see how they will knock Igbo man again to 2027. That's just it. At the end of the day, them too will be disappointed. But bros, with the level of things now, you understand, if you get to a level that if it requires us to struggle for national, for our own national president, we'll go about it. Let the Yorubas and the Northerners stay the way they want the country to the way they want to arrange the country. They will be disappointed too, including the Yorubas themselves will be disappointed what will happen to them later in time to come. Because you see, if they come out and take a particular position, knowing fully well that a Yoruba man has been appointed, has become president in Nigeria, and it was unique, advisable for somebody from the eastern part of the region to become president. What happened? You saw them play the same game, producing the same Muslim thing. So who are they going to blame? If they want to negotiate Nigeria, let Yorubas and Nigeria and Hausas renegotiate themselves. Igbo is completely out of anything that has to do with that name, Nigeria. No, bros.
But, I know that someone like Samuel, of course, the Prime Minister of Biafra in exile, will be singing hallelujah now. No, bros, perhaps saying that things are falling in pleasant places for him.
It does not come with relevance. I'm telling you in honest truth, go and check it. Igbo has gone past what the Northerners are saying. What are they reacting? We are on the global stage. We are discussing things globally. We are seeking for solidarity. We are seeking for amnesty. Not what one angle Abdullahi is saying because of crude oil, because of how they are going to, take over the national resources and the revenue. That's what the only thing they are interested on. Ask them one thing. They don't contribute to sports. They don't contribute to entertainment. They don't contribute to production. Nothing. Apart from jihadists everywhere. So what are you talking about? We don't need them.
If you permit me to jump in here, understand someone like Nnamdi Kanu have been in castration of DSS for some years now. But if I don't think Nnamdi Kanu should be privy to this position of Anglo Abdullahi, what do you think will be running through his mind now?
No, the reality is staring them on the face because whatever they projected didn't go that way. They are now Muslim. Let them Muslim themselves at the end of the day. Go to Saudi Arabia, Muslim themselves there. There's no problem. They forgot that this country we are talking about today is a secular. You don't have any business going to Arabs. To do what? What are you going to there to do?
But when he went there, I mean, this presence in the Jama Bola Tinubu, is he not? Did he not represent you? Is he not?
Is it? Am I sharing my opinion with you?
What I'm saying is, he went there to represent Nigeria.
No, bro, he went there in connection of the agenda they are projecting. How can somebody how can somebody, one of their spokesperson from the north, jihadis there from the north, is saying that the southwest is not their problem? Do you know what it means? Oh, you don't know what it means?
That southwest is not their problem?
Yes, it's not their problem. So what are you talking about? Let them continue to project the
where do you get information that someone is saying that southwest is not their problem?
Go and find out. It's not a matter of where do I get the information. You understand? The information is there for everybody to feast, to look into. How would you justify that? It's a very clear thing now. Let them continue to bring arms, raise 1,000 militia, Boko Haram, from the one from Niger. They are busy right under the nose of Sultan of Sokoto. It's happening in Zamfara. Everybody's protesting. What are they looking for?
No, before they could be saying southwest is not their problem. It's maybe because in southwest you have a good number of Muslims, and in the southeast you hardly find any Muslim.
Yes, they've already said it very clearly now. Yeah, Biafra is trouble for them.
What I'm saying, in the southeast you hardly find any Muslim. But remember that your brother recently, Tochukwu, is now the chief imam of Abuja Central Mosque.
Is that one irrelevant? You are asking a relevant question. That what Tochukwu is not insignificant. Whatever you call it, very 100% insignificant to the quest of. We're not running that kind of this thing. We have people who go and cut your hand, cut your head because you made a mistake. Let them run it now. So don't use Tochukwu. Whatever they call him, you understand, as a factor in this issue. It does not come. It does not. There's no synergy at all.
But let me ask you, in fairness to the Southwesterners here in Nigeria, we have a good number of Christians in the Southwest. Of course, we can see that evident in even some Jews.
It does not tell anything.
Churches.
If you have read histories of the world, countries, it does not mean whether you have good number of Christians. It does not matter. I have seen a nation, a complete Christian nation, fell into Islamization. What are you talking about? That is who they are. There's no how you take it away from them. As simple as that. They are representing who they are. That's what they are.
Is this assessment fair to Christians in the southwestern part of the country?
You don't understand what I mean by being fair. What do you mean by being fair? I'm telling you that it does not take anything. By the time they withdraw this thing, bros, anybody currently now, as long as it is where a particular family have, if they are 5, 3 or 2 is Muslim. What does that mean? What does that tell you? In every family, there are alternative communities, states that are purely Muslim in the West. So how are you going to do that?
They cannot take away the fact that we have a good number of Christians in the West.
The umbrella of it is that they will fall in that category. But it's not like that, because they've already said, they said it with their mouth that Biafra is trouble, and they know that Biafra is trouble.
It's like Biafra resilience is a major headache for some power block.
It has always been like that before now. You understand, because of the spread. You can't talk about, you can't ridicule an Igbo man this time around. You can't throw anything at Igbo man and you survive with it. We have to look into it. So what you are seeing now is a deliberate attempt, to disguise in another form and say, come. When Jonathan did renegotiation of Nigeria, after they knew, did they talk? Didn't you see the Northerners walking away? They are sensing something. There's something they are sensing, but they will continue to sense it for themselves. As simple as that. There's something they are sensing. It's no longer business as usual. If there's any form of love that's going to come from the eastern part of the country, bros, that one now is don't die.
Okay, let me ask you this question directly. If there were to be a table available for conversation around Nigerian issue, and you are made a delegate to represent the Biafran interest, what would be your opinion?
I will talk for 3 hours or 4 hours, and nobody should challenge me, because see, the whole thing is already bottled up. Everything that has to do with the enmity, the corruption, the build-up, the gang-up, the marginalization has taken over 60 years. Okay, let me say Biafra war 50 years or 54 years now, and nothing is being done. So what are we going there to negotiate? It has come to
What will be your position?
My position is disintegration. What is the meaning of it? This is separate. Oh, haven't we given Nigeria enough opportunity? I don't know what you mean by Arab. I'm not an Arab.
That's the outside way of saying separate.
I'm not interested.
That's the outside way of saying divide.
I don't know. I don't want to know. Their own division is their own business. That Arab might mean another thing among them. You understand? So I don't know what is happening there. I don't know what they mean by Arab. What I'm saying is this: at this point, if I have the opportunity, I will project and advocate, for total disintegration of Nigeria. Nigeria is not a country, and it's a fraudulent entity because of the crude oil. It looks as if, like, if you see the way and manner they are playing it, if they switch them, they want to see Igbo man suffer and die in penury. It makes them happy. All this what you are seeing.
But how many Igbos doing well in Nigeria currently? Even in the oil and gas sector, in every other, even in the banking industry.
About, commercialization. We are talking about, industrialization. We are talking about invention. We are talking about being industrious. We are talking about how skillful are you? You are talking about a good number of, how many of them are allotees? Can you mention an Igbo man? Come out today and say this particular Igbo man is an allotee. He has 5 oil wells. Mention the person. Mention one. When they finish with the other, because now, Igbo man always want to engage himself in dangerous, adventurous movement. How many of them will go to the sea? They will sit in the office. Those who play the game on the streets understand that those are the people who transform, who create economy, not those who sit on the AC and on AC. AC will be blowing them. They will cross their leg. How do they know what is happening please, I understand this very well. When the late Aton Zeribe interpreted the situation in Aso, how things are being manipulated in Aso, they cannot share their woman ingenuity with the way and manner they portray themselves before in all ramification. It's not possible.
I think I must say very thank you for your time. If you permit me, this is a good place to let it go. Thank you very much, Mr. Chinedu Michael. I'm Matthew, and this is Satellite Media.